Good evening, everyone. It's 5 o'clock, and at this time, I will call the pre-council meeting for the Perry City Council for Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026 to order. We do have a quorum this evening. Item 3 on our agenda is citizens with input. Are there any citizens here this evening that would like to address mayor and council at this time? Thank you. Item 4 for items for review and discussion. Item 4A is a discussion of the March 3rd, 2026 council meeting agenda. Council members, I will call your attention to that agenda at this time. Items 1, 2, and 3 are standard items for us in our meeting. So is there someone who would like to do the invocation?
I will.
Okay.
I'll do the pledge.
Okay. Thank you. Item 4 will be citizens with input relative to the agenda items. Item 5 are appointments. Item 5A is a mayor-council joint appointment. Item 5A1, we have been requested by the Housing Authority of the City of Perry to reappoint Ms. Deborah Thomas and also reappoint Ben Hulbert to the Housing Authority Board. Any questions or comments about those two appointments? They both serve very well in that authority, and I would recommend that we approve the request from the Housing Authority. Item 6 will be review of the minutes. Item 7, unfinished business. 7A is ordinance for the second reading and adoption. 7A1 is the second reading of an ordinance to amend the city code relative to section 17-56. Ms. Newby?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, as you may recall, Section 17-56 is kind of a carryover item that should have been repealed at the time that 1755 was revised years ago, that deals with noise issues. And this particular one is titled Same Phonographs, Musical Instruments, and Televisions, and all of those are already addressed in Section 17-55.
Okay. Questions, council members, relative to this ordinance? Thank you. Item 8 will be unfinished business, and I will go through each one of us and have the opportunity to discuss any unfinished business. Item 9 is new business. 9A will be any matters that are referred from this pre-council meeting. 9B is resolutions for consideration and adoption. 9B1 is a resolution to declare certain assets as surplus. Mr. Worthington?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, before you is a resolution declaring a 2011 Ford Taurus as surplus. This vehicle is currently with the fire department, but was a hand-me-down from the police department. The fire department utilized it for training purposes, mainly sending folks up to Gypstick and back for training. They have reached out and said that they no longer need that vehicle as it's replaced with a newer hand-me-down vehicle, essentially. So staff's just requesting that we declare it surplus and sell it. Like I said, it's a 2011 Ford Taurus, former police vehicle with approximately 145,000 miles on it.
Questions, council members? Thank you, Mr. Worthington. 9B2 is a resolution to abate public nuisance for 1106 Creekwood Drive. Ms. Newby?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is our standard resolution to find that the structure or building that's located at 1106 Creekwood Drive constitutes a public nuisance. This is following investigation and inspection by our code enforcement and chief building official, and authorizes us to proceed with nuisance abatement in the municipal court.
Questions, council members, relative to 1106 Creekwood Drive?
Did the owner of the building, they come and try to do what they need to do?
Did you ask, has the owner came?
Right.
So normally what happens is code enforcement usually tries to reach out and notify them that the structure doesn't meet current code and gives them a list of what needs to be done to bring it into code. If that doesn't work, then, or if we're not able to find who the owner is or make contact with the owner during just regular code enforcement proceedings, then we would go through this process. And so the owner will still be given an opportunity to come into municipal court to make the case if they believe that it's not a nuisance, or if they believe that they could bring it into compliance rather than needing to demolish the property. And that's something that the municipal court judge will determine. And then the owner is, if the judge does find that it constitutes a nuisance and orders that it be demolished, the owner is given, usually it's 60 days. Sometimes it can depend on different circumstances, that the judge will order them to demo the property or the structure within a certain time period. If they don't do that, then the city is able to come in and demo the structure and then place a lien for those costs against the real property.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have one, sir.
Yes, sir.
So where are we at now on that process?
This is the process where council by resolution determines that, based on the information from staff, that being your chief building official and code enforcement doing those inspections and determining that the structure is unfit, you're relying on that information to start the process for us to proceed with the actual action in municipal court.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you. Item 9B3 is a resolution to abate public nuisance for 1305 Whipple Street. Ms. Newby?
Yes, sir. So again, Mayor and Council, this is the same process we just discussed. It's just for the location at 1305 Whipple Street.
Thank you. Item 9C is the Oconee Drug Task Force, Middle Georgia Gang Task Force Intergovernmental Agreement. Chief Everidge?
Yes, Mayor and Council, the state of Georgia has created a state-local partnership task force to address drug and gang activity. Previously, it was Macon, and it primarily worked the north side of Bibb County. In the last year, they've split this up and created one that will work south of Macon, and they have asked us would we be willing to participate. What this brings to the table for the Perry Police Department is it gives us access to equipment, purchase money when we do investigations for drug buys, et cetera, undercover agents from the state, and eventually in 2027, it will actually do reimbursement for overtime for our officer who's assigned to that unit. So we believe that it'll bring great resources to us that we currently don't have, or at least help offset the cost of operation, and drugs and gangs go hand in hand.
Questions, council members? Thank you, Chief. Item 9D is an intergovernmental agreement with Houston County relative to Highway 127 water treatment plant. Ms. Newby?
Thank you. So Mayor and Council, the Houston County owns a 5.67 acre parcel that's within the city limits of Perry, and they are planning to construct a water treatment plant on that parcel. State law has a provision that allows for the county to contract with other municipalities that adopt the state minimum codes for them to be able to administer the codes and provide their own inspections. And so that's what this IGA does. You may recall it's similar to what we entered into with the county when we first broke ground relative to the wastewater treatment plant. We wanted to be able to do our own inspections on the wastewater reclamation facility out on A.E. Harris Road. That would have been county property and in county jurisdiction. And this is the same thing that they're asking. They just want an intergovernmental agreement for them to be able to enforce the state minimum standard codes and do their own inspections relative to their own water treatment plant. I would note that the city, as the local issuing authority, would still review all erosion and sedimentation control plans.
Okay. Questions? Thank you, Ms. Newby. Item 9E is the Houston County Wide Safety Plan Consent Agreement. Ms. White?
Thank you. So the countywide safety plan exists to delineate boundaries for the different natural gas providers in the county. It lists out key personnel in case of emergency, and then policy and procedures for any kind of repairs or emergency action needed. The consent agreement that comes before you tonight is between the Facilities Protection Unit staff of the Public Service Commission, Midstate Energies, Atlanta Gas Light, City of Perry, and City of Warner Robins, and its purpose is to acknowledge changes in those boundaries for us, mostly between us and Midstate Energies in a few areas, and then it accommodates the addition of new infrastructure through Houston County with a pipeline that taps into the Kinder Morgan Southern Natural Gas Company pipeline in Monroe County, runs through Crawford, Peach, and Houston County, and it provides additional capacity through the Midstate Energies system.
Questions relative to this agreement? And this is something that's required by the Public Service Commission, that we realign those to make sure that they know who's responsible.
Right.
So, okay. Thank you. Item 9F is naming of Langston Road Park property to Magnolia Point Park. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, as you are aware, the city is currently constructing basically a multi-purpose type facility off of Langston Road that incorporates both a regional stormwater pond to handle stormwater in that area, but also a park that right now is planned to have a fully inclusive playground, a restroom structure, parking amenities, that sort of thing. The project itself has gone well. It has surpassed substantial completion. And right now, staff is working with the contractors to actually close that out with some punch list items, that sort of thing. So with that in mind, it is time to give that park a name. As you are aware, the city has a formal agreement with the Hasea Club here in town to work with them to establish the fully inclusive playground. They have committed to providing the playground structure, and the city has committed to providing basically the support amenities like the restroom, parking, that sort of thing. As part of the agreement with the club, it is in there that they are able to make a recommendation to you all for the park name. However, ultimately, the park would be named by you all and whatever you think is best for that particular park. With that in mind, the club recently, this past week, submitted to the city a recommended name, and that's what you see here in your e-scribe. They are recommending Magnolia Point Park. Now, I first received that recommendation from them with not a whole lot of background, and some of the staff is like, well, what is that all about? What does that mean? And I was like, well, it sounds pretty good to me, but I'll reach out to them and see, kind of what they're thinking on that. So I did. I actually requested to have some of the club members here this evening to basically present to you all what their thoughts were behind that recommendation. They were unable to make it. Apparently, they have some sort of big club meeting this evening. They couldn't join us. However, they have submitted to me a statement. And, I was going to kind of paraphrase it, but the same staff that pointed out the park naming issue was like, well, you should probably just read that whole thing to give the full context to council. So if you will indulge me, that's what I'll do at this time. On behalf of the Hasea Women's Club, we are honored to present the official name request for our Inclusive Playground Initiative, Magnolia Point Park. The selection of this name is deeply rooted to our club's identity and mission. Our club's name, Hasea, is a Navajo word meaning to rise up. Our official club flower is a magnolia, chosen because it symbolizes perseverance, dignity, and strength. These qualities reflect the resilience of the children and families we hope to serve and our commitment to ensuring every child has a place to rise up, overcome challenges, and thrive. By using the name Magnolia Point Park, we aim to create a landmark that embodies a steadfast dedication to accessibility for all. We would like to extend our sincerest thank you to the City of Perry for your unwavering partnership. This project would not be possible without your support and shared vision for a more inclusive community. We would also like to announce that as of this week, we are $100,000 away from our fundraising goal of $1 million. We look forward to our continued work together to make Magnolia Point Park a reality for our wonderful city. So with that, it provides some kind of context to you all about what their thinking is and their thought process behind that recommendation. Now, I think that's great. I do. However, administration is okay with the recommended name for a couple of other reasons as well. The first is it does not violate the current naming policy for parks that the city has in place. As you're aware, the city does not name parks and that sort of thing after people, other kind of, I guess, formal names, that sort of thing. So this is right in line with what we've actually done in the past. Pine Needle Park, Heritage Oaks Park. Miss White had that interesting name for the new park over there off of Stonegate Trail. But parks that are generally named after kind of the flora and fauna, associated with the community. So that's kind of administration's thought behind this. Again, I do think that this would be a suitable name for that park. And administration does recommend accepting the name Magnolia Point Park for that property.
Questions or comments? Yes. Yes, sir.
We'll be voting on this tonight?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
okay. And so the Magnolia is part of their, part of the Hasea Club. You said it's their flower or their tree or something?
Their official club flower.
Okay. And where does the point come in? I mean, is it a point like, why not just Magnolia Park?
It kind of is a point. If you travel up the road like you're going into the subdivision where it kind of curves, and where the area is laid out that the playground structure is going to be located, it is kind of a point that looks out over the extremely large, every time I see it I'm like, what is this so big? But the extremely large pond that was constructed as part of the regional stormwater structure.
Are there going to be magnolias out there?
Miss White said there could be, yes.
Okay. Thanks.
This park is was everything I've ever heard about this park. It's the special needs park.
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to
And
make sure I
they're
had the right
providing
place here.
$1 million to provide that equipment.
Yeah, I
Special
know it's
needs.
expensive stuff. I've lived with it for a while, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Very good. Yes.
I love it. I
Okay.
think it really honors the club, their dedication to not only this project, but to the role that they play in our city. For those of you that don't know, we have a long-standing line of women's clubs. My mom is part of the Akita Club. I'm Tashiria. There's a whole line of women's clubs that are typically set up in age group bands. And so what this club is doing is such a gift to our city. And I think that Magnolia planted there or not planted there, I do think that looking at it through the lens of kind of giving a nod to that club without naming it after the club is a really cool way to go. So I like the idea
Good.
as your resident English major.
And I would add, it is high on a hill. It is up there.
And so they're donating the playground equipment?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so
That was part of the agreement. We would put the park in and they would provide I think it's $1 million worth of equipment. That's all inclusive. So a special needs park.
So we would be in charge of taking care of the park?
Yes, it'll be given to the city of Perry. The equipment will be.
isn't that similar to what we did at Pine Needle with the inclusive?
Yeah, some of that. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions or concerns? Thank you. Item 9G is a sewer easement agreement with the Charitable Remainder Unit Trust. Mrs. Newby?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this sewer easement agreement is really kind of a cleanup item. By that, I mean that we have our existing sanitary sewer line that has been in place dating as far back as maybe the 50s and 60s. But in doing some recent work and looking at potential upgrades that may be needed on this line and searching the records, the formal easements of records have a different legal description than that of where the line actually is. And so because of that, this is, again, like I said, just a cleanup item for us to formalize with the correct legal description where the sewer line actually lies within this property. And so the Swanson family, the actual ownership is the Charitable Remainder Unitrust, has agreed to this sewer easement. And so tonight we would just request your approval of it as well, so that we can have this recorded and it formally documents where the sanitary sewer line exists on that property.
Questions? Thank you. Item 10 is other business, supplemental agenda items. 10A is a resolution for consideration and adoption. 10A1 is a resolution for GFA loan modification relative to the East Regional Pump Station. Mr. Worthington, this is documentation we approved a while back that now they've decided that they need a resolution as part of the package.
Essentially, yes, sir. At your January 6th meeting, you all approved an extension just for the calendar on the two GFA loans that we have for the A.E. Harris reclamation plant and the regional pump station, the $50 million and the $6 million loan. At the time, what you all approved was an acknowledgement of a modification fee form. That fee was $0 because we are allowed to modify the loan a certain amount of times, and this was the first modification. All of that paperwork was submitted to GFA, and they have sent back an additional paperwork that needs filled out, one of which is a resolution of the governing body, essentially just acknowledging the contract extension. So once again, this is not a dollar extension or an increase to a loan of any amount. This is simply an extension to the loan, which the construction phase of these two loans was originally supposed to end in December of 25. The extension extends that out until December of 26 so that we complete the two projects.
And it's at no cost to the city.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I guess my question would be, what does this do to the start of payments for these loans? Did I understand you say it pushes them back?
Yes, sir. It's actually to the, we have until December 26th now, December of 26 to complete the project. And once the project is complete, or now that we get to December 26th, of 26, whichever comes first, we will fully amortize those loans and start paying them off.
Okay. I did have a question on this because I printed my agenda out on Saturday and tried to do all of my homework, and so had a busy Lord's Day and then had 2 busy work days, and I just heard about this on the agenda, and I was surprised so I'm glad to know we're not voting on money here and stuff like that.
No, you guys essentially already approved the action. After you all approved the acknowledgement of the modification fee form, all of that was sent to GFA. There was actually a little bit of a snafu on their end. They sent it to a former employee, the final packet, on February 10th. So no one on staff was aware that the packet needed to be approved. On Monday, our GFA rep reached out to me and just stated, hey, we noticed that we sent this to this employee. Is there anyone else we need to send it to? And my response was essentially, yes, me, please. So if we'd have had this on February 10th, this obviously would have come to a much earlier meeting.
Right. Well, and I know confession is bad for the reputation, but good for the soul. So I had not had a chance to re-look at this agenda with these items. But I'm glad to hear your explanation. Thanks for that. I'm just wondering, in the future, when we have something like this that pops up on the agenda, would it be possible to at least get a brief text or something, say, changing the, because I wouldn't have gone, and I didn't go back and look at it, just because of my schedule the last couple of days. That would be helpful.
Because it's very, very rare that we will do this. And the only reason we did this is that you've already approved it. Yeah. And so you're just approving the resolution, confirming it. So
thank you.
We have a commitment, that we won't do that unless it's just completely necessary. So, but we will put in our procedures to notify you any changes. So, very good. Item 10A2 is a resolution for GFA loan modification relative to the new wastewater treatment facility, which, Mr. Worthington?
Same thing. So item 10A1 is for the $50 million loan. Item 10A2 is for the $6 million loan. Both the same action, just extending out the construction timeframe.
Thank you. Is there any questions relative to our agenda this evening or comments? Thank you very much. I will call your attention back to our pre-council agenda. Item 4B is the Community Development Department. 4B1 is the Historic Preservation Commission, the Certified Local Government Application Consideration. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'll just start. This will be kind of an informational slash opportunity for y'all to share any questions, but the City of Perry has had great success taking advantage of the state of Georgia's Department of Community Affairs various programs. As you'll be familiar with, most likely, we are Water First certified, indicating we are very successful with our stormwater mitigation measures. We are a Plan First certified community, indicating we actually follow the plans that we adopt. We are also a Georgia Initiative for Community Housing, or GIC community. We have a Perry housing team which meets usually on a monthly basis to discuss the housing needs across the community, and of course our award-winning Main Street program. So all of these programs have various different benefits, and by that I mean financial benefits, allowing us eligibility for certain funding programs or discounts on loans such as GFA, CDBG, or CHIP. But I'm here to talk about the Certified Local Government Program, which is also through the DCA. In meeting with our Historic Preservation Commission, this has been identified as an opportunity for the City of Perry. Basically, we've got an application to fill out. There's no deadline to submit this application. It's a pretty hefty application. It's 43 pages long, but the good news for us is most of the hard work to pursue this has already been done through the formation of the actual Historic Preservation Commission, as well as the applicable design guidelines. Program benefits, were we to choose to pursue this, not just as another feather in our cap to say we checked another box per se, but this would also allow us, the city, by way of the Historic Preservation Commission, to apply for Historic Preservation Fund grants. These are relatively flexible grants. They can be used on a number of different items. I know Mayor and Mr. Smith joined the commission at their most recent meeting, in which some brainstorming took place. I know they had a few different ideas, such as oral history projects for underrepresented neighborhoods. There may be some opportunities for physical construction dollars to flow towards buildings, perhaps, as well as technical assistance to the city for potential buildings or sites or neighborhoods to be nominated to the National Register of Historic Places, which is kind of the golden layer of acknowledgement, you could say, which also opens up other funding opportunities. So I just wanted to share that we were exploring this. I know the Preservation Commission is very keen on us tackling this sometime this year, but just wanted to let y'all know that was going on, and if y'all had any questions about it, thoughts about it, support, any issues you may foresee, I'd love to know about that before we proceed further.
Questions, council, relative to the certified local government distinction from DCA? I think it's well worthwhile for us to go through this, and it does give us some flexibility as far as grant monies go, and you cannot apply for this unless you do have a Historic Preservation Commission, as I understand it. So we've never applied for this in the past because of the fact that we did not have a Historic Preservation Commission, but it's I think it's probably something we ought to look into. Okay, everybody concurs with you? So keep working on the 43 pages.
All right, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item 5 are council member items. Dr. Faust?
Yes, I just would like for us to add to our work session agenda for the next meeting, to go back to the goals and objectives that we
Okay.
talked about at the January 6th. We were hoping to talk about that at our planning retreat, and that was a full
We ran out
agenda
of
for
time.
2 days, absolutely. So I just want to make sure that gets back onto our radar, and we have some opportunity to have some conversation around
Okay.
those.
We'll do that. There is some thought that we may want to consider aligning that with the budget and making a July the 1st priorities going through the budget cycle rather than annual, because we're out of sequence. Because our budgets, we've already spent half of our budget, so then we'll start talking about what our priorities. So you may want to take that in consideration, but we'll talk about that at our next work session. So, giving some thought to that. Thank you. Mr. Jones? Dr. Albritton? How about you, Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Mr. Peterson?
I did have one. First, I want to say, I think that is a great idea to sync fiscal year with goals and objectives, because you're right, it's like, are we talking about 2026 or part of 26 and part of, it just, man, it's confusing enough already. I had two items I just want to bring up. Also that I would hope we would see at some point in the future here soon, and maybe arrive on some dates. One would be a workshop in preparation for going through the budget stuff. Perhaps a workshop just where we get to hear what the latest revenue estimation would be as we're planning that 26 budget, or FY 27 budget. And then I had heard the possibility of maybe having some dates, but I never heard anything further about it, about when the council could start to review these budgets, so we get a good head start on it, rather than, I think Mr. Smith mentioned, seeing it on our desk here with 2 days to go, and let's figure this out. So, it'd be helpful if we could get some dates on the calendar to do that, whether they're extra work sessions or in work sessions, or how that would be. That could be a pretty intense process, I think, this year with our challenges.
Very good. Reverend King?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Smith, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Worthing, do you have anything for us?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Ms. Newby, do you have anything? Okay. We don't have a requirement for an executive session, so is there anything that needs to come before this pre-council before we adjourn until 6 o'clock? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our pre-council meeting at this time. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We are adjourned until 6 o'clock.